Good evening, everyone. I hope you all can hear us and see us fine. Welcome to this episode of Persecution Report. As always, we'd like to wait about 30 seconds and let our viewers join in, and then we'll begin our show. So please hang tight.
The weather in Virginia, Rahan bhai,
It
hot.
actually rained. As I look outside the window, it looks very wet. It's still raining now. Uh, it looks very much like home.
I
Home.
was I was surprised at the beginning when I saw you. I thought that probably you were in Bangladesh.
Inshallah, very soon. Very soon.
in December.
Inshallah. Inshallah. So excellent. I think we have waited decently for our audiences. So let us begin. So, in just a couple of more days, it will be 2 years since our democratically elected Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's government was overthrown by a terrorist movement in 2024. Two governments have since come to power to rule Bangladesh, to hopefully to govern Bangladesh since then. First, as you all remember, it was the Jamaat Yunus regime, and then followed by the Jamaat BNP regime under a convicted criminal Tariq Rahman. Tonight, I want to ask the question that nobody who is currently in power once asked. So, what is that question? So the question is, for the ordinary people, has anything actually changed? We all know, we were told about the huge amount of changes that will come from that movement, but we all know what it has resulted to. So tonight will not be about the leadership living in exile. Tonight it will not be about the leadership who is waiting for their trial at the International Crimes Tribunal, the ICT. Tonight's episode will only be focused on the grassroots activists of our country, from Awami League, from Chhatra League, Students League, all relevant. So it's about the ward level organizers, the local teachers, the rickshaw pullers, and people who do not have headlines covering their life and living. So over the next hour, you will hear about thousands who are still jailed without trial, dozens who are dead in custody this year alone, and about something we don't talk often enough: what it actually costs day to day to simply survive as a marked person in this country right now. Not the big number that the UN talks about or the UN report has, the rent that didn't get paid this month, the medicine that got skipped because that person had to pay someone else, maybe a lawyer, to get out of jail. Maybe the father who could not attend his own daughter's wedding because his own hometown is not safe for him anymore. And in the end, once you talk about all of this, we'll be asking what any of this actually adds up to after these 2 years. So, if you are one of those thousands still filing this paperwork to get out of jail, the prison sentence, this episode will be for you. If you're trying to get your case dismissed, this episode will be for you. Trying to get a loved one released from illegal incarceration, this will be for you. If you're trying to get a job back that you lost simply for wrong political affiliation or reason, this hour is specifically for you. We see the parts of this that don't make it into a headline. And so we're calling tonight's episode 2 years after August 2024, the cost nobody counts. So welcome to the show. Tonight, joining me will be our panelists. Anwar Jihan, Rana Meher, and Priyanka Anwar. Between the three of them, we're going to talk about the mechanism, the machine that's at play right now, the names, the people, and the everyday costs, which is exactly the order we're going to take it in tonight. So let us first review of what the guests will be talking briefly today. Jihan, you will be up first tonight with the members. So let's start with you. What review to us? What will be your talking point about?
Thank you, Dr. Jamil. Let me first start with responding to this guy, MD Mohit, who said that we need to read his comment. Yeah, Sheikh Hasina is committed to come in December and December of 2026 this year. And we do read your comments, we do read your feedbacks. So please continue providing us with your feedbacks. Now, today in this persecution report, we are talking about two governments, namely the Yunus Jamaat government and this current Autopass. I call them Autopass because they passed the election without a competitor. Autopass, BMP government. But they both carry the same machine, same state machine. The machine that Yunus built to suppress democracy, and then it passed over to the BMP government. What I'm going to talk today, I'm going to cover few stuff. So please be alert and also focus. At first, I'm going to talk about the first 2 weeks after the fall of the Awami League government, and then what is happening in the custody. I will talk about some names, and I will talk about the mechanism and this so-called Operation Devil Hunt that we have been seeing for the last 2 years. So let's take a look at the first 2 weeks. In the first 2 weeks, after the violent fall of the Awami League government, violent fall because it happened not organically, but through a conspiracy. After this violent fall of the Awami League government, in a matter of only 2 weeks, the United Nations Human Rights Commission, in their so-called fact-finding report that is marred with irregularities, found that 144 Awami League officials were killed. 144, and it is documented by the United Nations. At the same time, Prothom Alo, a leading newspaper of Bangladesh, put the toll at 87 in the first 2 days. Dr. Jamil, imagine 2 days, 48 hours, 87 lives vanished from this earth. This is what we are dealing with today. And International Crisis Group put that toll at 250. 250 people, mostly Awami League leaders and activists, were killed in 6 days. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of lack of democracy in Bangladesh. 194,000, please concentrate on that number, Dr. Jamil and our audience. 194,000 people were named in murder cases that has no credibility whatsoever. 194,000 people in a matter of 25 days. 194, that number means for a country like Bangladesh that has 170 million people as its population, it means 1 in approximately 900 people. That means 1 in every 900 people were named in fake murder charges, Dr. Jamil. This is where we are at today. This is the unlawful abuse of the judiciary in Bangladesh. You just slap murder charges against anybody's name without any due process, without any evidence, without anything. And then we can look at the custodial deaths. Because custodial deaths and extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances are what we have been hearing for the last 17 years when Awami League government was in power. But after Awami League government was ousted, we have seen all these people that were claiming that they were either dead or were enforcedly, like, were faced with enforced disappearances, were exactly like a well-fed cow. Just look at this Rajakar's son, Humman Kadir, or the Salahuddin Kadir's son. He looks like a well-fed cow. He was not in any jail. He was not in any enforced disappearance list. Human Rights Support Society, in the first quarter of 2026, alone, found 39 deaths in custody, Dr. Jamil. And nobody talks about these 39 people, 39 families. I know Shalish Kendro put that toll in 61. So 61 people, according to I know Shalish Kendro, died in 6 months nationwide. This is where we are at today. And these numbers probably not always mean something. So it is important to put name behind those numbers. Let us not forget Ramesh Chandra Sen, an 85-year-old senior leader, a senior minister. He was imprisoned for nothing and then was killed. His family alleges neglect. Monirujjaman Monir Matobor, it is very personal to me because I know this guy. He was a leader of Central Jubo League, a pro-1971 activist, long-time Awami League activist. He died in Dhaka Central Jail only a couple of weeks back in July, second weeks of July. Without any justification, he was not involved in any murder, or he was not involved in any state decision making that led to whatever happened in 2024. But he is the ultimate victim who had to give up his life while being incarcerated. And all this that I have been saying for the last 3-4 minutes are not some random jargons. These are all well-documented facts from well-reputed newspapers and human rights organizations. Human Rights Watch in February called on Bangladesh to uphold impartiality in law enforcement because they think there is no impartiality. Why do they think that? Because they have been seeing the so-called Operation Devil Hunt. In the name of this so-called Operation Devil Hunt, 2 governments have been wreaking havoc across the whole country, suppressing millions in the process. And then, as I was saying about custodial deaths have become the daily regularity. Now, Dr. Jamil, what is the mechanism? How they are doing it? To understand that, you have to look at the FIR of police, the first information report. In one case, how they are filing it. They are filing one FIR, there is one victim, somebody passed away, and then you name hundreds of people arbitrarily without any due process or without anything. In one case, 321 people were named in one FIR only. And there are 244 such cases across the whole country in a matter of only 3-4 months. Across the whole country, 11,935 people were named in such cases. On top of that, the traditional system, or at least what we have been seeing in Bangladesh, is that you name hundreds unidentified and then abuse this law to put random people's name on the FIR. This is the tactics that normally is used in Bangladesh, and it continues till today. The shocking part, for that you have to look at one grieving mother, and this is no jargon or made up fairy tale. This is real life story. A grieving mother was coerced into signing a police report naming 47 people that she had never met. So she does not even know who killed her son or daughter. It is just that she was forced into signing those names. And the Operation Clean Heart that we have seen in that headline, more than 29,000 people were arrested in this so-called Operation Devil Hunt. Now, Dr. Jamil, please tell me, how can somebody kill someone on the street of Dhaka when he is having a good time with his wife in Canada? Is it practically possible? He did not time travel, or, I don't know, resorted to some telepathy to commit that murder. I'm talking about our all-rounder Saqib Al Hassan, who was also named in a murder charge. He was having a good time with his wife, and he allegedly killed somebody on the street of Dhaka in Mirpur. It is practically impossible. This is a lie. And this is the lie that we are dealing with today. And for that, Human Rights Watch, I quote, they say that people today are being held as murder suspects without any trial, and bail are being routinely denied. Why? Because these are technically murder charges. And for murder charges, you don't have a bail. So all these were supposed to change after we have a democratic government, democratically elected government. But we now have an elected government, even though through a sham election, it is an elected government that has some sort of accountability to the people. But we don't see any changes. In April 2026 of this year, Tarek Rahman's, the grenade attacker, the corrupt convict Tarek Rahman's BMP government continued. They were okay with the ban of Bangladesh Awami League. So they enacted that into a law. And that should tell you that what we are dealing with. Two governments, but same mechanism. The result is Nurul Alam. In June, a Jubo League leader in Satkania also was killed in a matter of one day in custody. The government changed from Yunus to Tarek Rahman. But the abuse, the suppression, the repression did not change. This is what we are dealing with today. Back to you.
Excellent, excellent, Jihan. Thank you for sharing such informative presentation. There's so much to think about it. One quick question, though, Jihan, to you. So, if the government has changed, but the machine did not, just like you said, whose machine is it now?
It is the state's machine, Dr. Jamil. It is the machine of the state. All these state institutions are still the same. All these state institutions' leaders are still the same, but those who are calling the shots are different. Probably now we don't have a crooked, corrupt Yunus calling the shots. We have a crooked, corrupt Tariq Rahman calling the shots, but still the machines are the same.
That is indeed a fair distinction, and so and it's of course definitely complicated as well. So I would like to take it further to our next panelist about the convenience of all of this for a new regime to continue with this existing machinery of suppression and oppression. So I'd like to come to Rana Meher. Rana, I know you have been working behind the scenes about pulling the names out from underneath the machine that Jihan just talked about. Uh, please show these people what this don't usually get named. Where do you want to start? Where do you see this going, Rana Meher, to you?
Uh, Thank you, Jamil Bhai. I still find it difficult to grasp. Jihan, did you say 194,000 and that time
Yes.
what, 3 weeks?
Yes.
I don't know if it's possible by any means in any civilized country, but here we are. And can I also point out the name Devil Hunt? That should not be a name to tag any political party. We cannot name a formal government project or plan to catch someone and calling them devil. Every time we do this, we are dehumanizing those people. So we are dehumanizing those Awami League activists by calling them devil, calling the project devil hunt. And when we dehumanize people or a group of people, it basically goes along the line with genocide. And I believe what is happening with Awami League, not even after 5th of August, what is happening with Awami League from July 2024, it is a genocide, Jamil Bhai. As you said, to mention some name, can I start with the one Awami League activist, the Chhatri League activist, who was hacked to death in the mid of July. His name was Shobuj Ali. And that time Awami League was in power, but the people who are in power now, those people basically killed that young Chhatri League leader in Dhaka. And around that same time, we have also seen, I'm so sorry I do not have their name, we have also witnessed another horrific incident that happened in Chittagong when we have seen some Chhatri League activists, they were thrown from the roof as well. So that genocide that we are talking about, that happening with Awami League, it started before 5th of August. And after 5th of August, whatever happened till today with Awami League, the number Jihan is given, the people that we are seeing behind those numbers, it is simply a genocide. And I'm so sorry for coining this term over and over again. There are some names, and sorry, I have to follow this name from my note there because it's just so many. It is just so many to talk to. Let me start with someone who is a 50 years old Awami League worker. His name is Naharul Islam. He was beaten to death in Gangni, Meherpur in 8th of August 2024, just 3 days after the government fell. Another person, he was a Juba League leader. His name is Monirul Islam Shaheen. He was beaten to death in Potuakhali. Mushfiqur Rahman Mishu, Badsha Mia, 2 more Juba League leaders hacked to death in August 7th. Now, just to be sure that what we are dealing with, all those murdered till 31st of August, all this murder of Awami League leaders, Awami League activists, people will not face any sort of criminal charge against them. Those murderers got a free license to roam free because they received the indemnity from the Yunus government and Tariq Rahman's government as well. So the indemnity basically says people who caused an havoc in Bangladesh from July the 1st until 31st of August 2024, they are protected under indemnity. They will not be charged of what they have done. So all these people, they died mercilessly, and the people who are the perpetrator of it, they will never get punished, at least not under this current government. Let me find some more. There are 2 cases that is severely shocked me a lot to my core. In December, there was a mother who was praying her Isha prayer in December 2024, and some people got into her house and murdered her. She had nothing to do with politics, but her family did. Her son was a local Chhatri League leader, and he escaped after 5th of August. And because the Chhatri League leader was not found, the mother was killed instead of him. And another one, this is not about 2024, it is about 25th. In 25th, in the summer, we came with another shocking truth. There was a boy, he's in year 10, so he was in custody for 8 months. He's from Noakhali, and his crime was his father was an Awami League activist, and the shocking and surprising fact is the father died 5 years ago, but the son, who is like 15 years old, who is just a teen, he was behind the bar for 8 months, and he was not a part of any kind of political organization, but his fault was his father was part of a very important part of Awami League. So this is 8. Jamil Bhai, is it okay if I continue with some more names? Okay. Now, somehow, and even in 2025, as I was talking about dehumanization and genocide, the dehumanization and genocide, it came against Awami League in various form, in various shape. In 2025, I think sometime in summer, in Chittagong, there was a widely leaflet circulated by local police saying people, the landlord, they're not allowed to rent their house to any Awami League activist. If they do it and that Awami League activist is found, the landlord will be pressed charge as well. So this is another form of dehumanization is taking place. And we all know that what happened in Gopalganj in the mid of July, when many people were killed, many people are taken to custody, and we still do not know what happened to them. So this is 2025. If we come to 2026, and unfortunately, some of us, not me, thankfully, some of us, we thought because of the new government, it will change, the situation will be a bit better for Awami League, but it's not. As Jihan was talking about machinery, it's only the machine operator was changed, the machinery is still working the same. 13th March, someone, an Awami League leader, Shahnur Alam Shanto, he died in Bogura jail, and till March 2026, 6 Awami League leaders died in exact custody. And every time the jailer, the police super, they claim they all died of heart attacks. So I don't know what kind of heart attack machinery they're running in Bogura prison, that 6 of the Awami League leaders, they died in the same prison. And then also in March, when Tariq Rahman took the power, Bangladesh was under some deep, dark moment. But without resolving the other problem, the government ordered all the police stations so that they should make a list of local Chhatralik activists so that they can keep an eye on them. So the government was very clear about their priorities since beginning. They want to just hack the Awami League leaders or Chhatralik or Jubilee. That was their priority, not economics, not what is happening with women, not what is happening with the Hindu community. Their target was chasing Awami League and Chhatralik. As a result, April 2026, I'm not talking about death in custody or death outside only. There was a case against a veteran Awami League leader and former minister Tofail Ahmed. And we all know Tofail Ahmed died a couple of months later. Tofail Ahmed was very, very, very sick, hospitalized. But the government did not hesitate to do an arrest warrant, to issue an arrest warrant against him. Then, if we come to June 2026, a former Rangpur councillor named Akhtarujaman Bhutto was arrested over a 2024 case. So BNP was basically following what Yunus regime done for 24-25, and then if we talk about 23rd of June, when people were celebrating the big day for Awami League, 3 people, they were abducted by police and their dead body was found in Turak River. They were Arif Hassan Rakib, Ronnie Mullah, and someone else. So the reason I am going outside of prison as well, chasing Awami League, killing those people, committing a full scale genocide. It is happening inside the prison, outside of prison as well. They are targeting not only Awami League or Jubo League or Chhatra League activists, they are targeting their families as well. They're targeting anybody they believe that could maybe voted for Awami League or could support Awami League in future. Now, Jamil Bhai, we have seen this kind of genocide before. We have seen how Nazi party murdered at least 20,000 of communists, and to I don't know how do I say it, to make sure they can glorify their murder in some other name. They name those poor communists, calling them some kind of Gion Bolshevik. So we have seen this, how different kind of party, they target different ideology, a different ideology who can be threatening to them. And for this government and the Yunus government, there is only one threat, is Awami League. So that murder and genocide is going on. Thank you, Jamil Bhai.
Thank you very much, Rana. Perhaps it was easier not to know these people and just focus on Jihan's numbers. But as you put
Before you continue, I want to draw one quick connection.
Bit louder, Jihan. Bit louder.
Ranapa was saying something about that people are not allowed to get a rental today. This is the same thing that Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and her sister, Honorable Sheikh Rehana, had faced after 1975. Nobody would give them a house to rent. So what we are facing today is the exact same situation, exact same environment.
And also many Awami League, Jubo League, Chhatra League, they lost their jobs as well. They lost their academic qualification. They lost the opportunity to study. So when we are talking about genocide, it is not only murder, it is also killing their present and the future in a different form. Sorry, Jamil Bhai.
No, this is fine. I'm glad you guys are bringing this up. So as you so clearly and eloquently talk about the people who died or disappeared from public life, a logical next question then becomes, what about the people who are still here, still walking around, but just barely? I think this could be a very good question for our next panelist who has been patiently waiting all this time. Priyanka, you have been looking into exactly that, the people who are still here, still surviving. Take it from here for us, Priyanka.
Exactly. Thank you, Jan. Guys, great questions. We have heard both Jan Bhai, you, and Appa last half an hour. People that have died or disappeared, that have basically ended their life and they're gone from the scenario. But there are still hundreds of thousands of Awami League activists, Awami League leaders, or simply just because they have ever voted, or simply they have been tagged that they might possibly support Awami League. Their lives is still barely there, barely surviving. They are not dead. They haven't disappeared. They're not arrested. But it's a struggle of everyday's life. They still have to eat. They still have to pay rent. They still have to manage medicine for their parent or for themselves. They still have to find how do they get to pay for their children's costing of schools. But all of this is very, very hard when you have to be still managing yourself being hidden because of the tagging that has been going on. You can't have a proper job, you can't live a proper normal life, so you have to always make sure and always see through over the shoulder that who's cutting you, who's being chased, if you're being chased. So you have to be very careful, and this is just not a when I think of that, when we hear about these stories, it almost feels like some stories from a movie, but this is actually a reality that's been happening the last 2 years and is still on, sadly, still on. I know that we have seen the Yunus regime, and a lot of the people were actually hoping that no matter what, if BNP government comes, there will be still illegal or legal. That's a different debate. They are elected and they're here and they're quite a large party. So a lot of people hope that they will see difference, but so far we haven't seen. We have just only seen that's continued what Yunus had left. So I want to talk about more about the normal lives that are no longer normal. It's almost feels like they dream of having a normal life that once upon used to be a normal life. Now, stories like just while back, Al Jazeera had interviewed 24-year-old former Chhatru League member. Obviously, we can't name him by his real name here because of he will be chased. But let's call him Fami, or let's call him, the nameless. Uh, he was only 24 years old. He had a normal life at universities. He wasn't really a leader or a very known face outside of his campus. But even he could never go back to the university. He could never sit in his exam. He had a plan of perhaps serve to do some service government job that will never happen. So all of these normal lives have just disappeared, and we have just watched them being disappeared. Nobody has said anything just because they're really tagged as if it's been normalized, as if our people deserves it somehow. Somehow it's just like cursed, so they will just have to go through it. So my point is that this is like one or two stories that we are talking here, Jamil Bhai, but there are so many that's still suffering in Bangladesh that we don't really hear about them. We don't get to see them in a like UN report. We don't get to see them in a big headshot title in a big newspaper or on the news channels. But there are still thousands of them are suffering today. So my hope that all of this would end. It has to end because this is a nightmare for a lot of our lives that nobody seems to much care at this point, or they don't dare to even speak up what is happening. Jamil Bhai, back to you. You are muted, Jamil Bhai.
Thank you. This never gets old, does it? No matter how many times you talk, you sleep your mic being muted. So, thank you for sharing this, Priyanka. It's indeed very heartbreaking to say very politely that what we're seeing happening in Bangladesh, being done to Bangladesh in a very strategic and purposeful way to ruin Bangladesh. Our GDP fell from over 6% to roughly barely 2%. Inflation is currently above 12%, when it was really way around 6% or so a couple of years ago under Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. There is no column written anywhere for custodial death counts for a brother who got bullied or raped in our madrasas, for sisters who are getting abused every day in their workarounds, in their everyday life. So everything that Rana and Priyanka just described, right, needed a political cover to happen at this scale and to keep happening for 2 years. I guess my next question would be to Jihan about this. Jihan, I know you have tracked exactly who provided that kind of a cover. Would you please pick that thread up and share your thoughts about this, please?
Thank you, Dr. Jamil. So, who provided that cover? What I'm going to say about who provided that cover, before that, you have to go back to who Jamaat-e Islami is. Jamaat-e Islami, the Islamic fundamentalist, the religious fundamentalist group in Bangladesh, they are the party whose senior leadership was convicted of war crimes for the atrocities that they committed during 1971. In 1971, 3 million people were killed, 200,000 women and children were faced with inhuman brutality. And Jamaat-e Islami's senior leadership was behind all those atrocities. And this is not me talking, this is the International Crimes Tribunal of Bangladesh. After years of investigation and due process, have found them responsible for these killings and atrocities. Their senior leadership, namely, for example, Motiur Rahman Nijami, Abdul Qadir Molla, they were convicted and executed for their role in crimes against humanity. So this is the same party, this is the same conspiracy. And then there is international forces that were in cahoot with them. All of their grudge was against Bangladesh being a self-reliant, self-independent country. They don't like Bangladesh being self-independent because they don't believe in the identity, the very existence of Bangladesh. And then came the February election, where 60% of the population were banned from even participating, right? And that brought the BNP government into power, the cousin of Jamaat. Now they are political rival, but they are not at the same time. How? Because both of them in cahoot have stayed the ban on Awami League that was placed by the Yunus government. So, Dr. Jamil, what we are seeing is that the state is being ran by Jamaat Islami and all those who were against the formation of Bangladesh, and their partners are some international elements. Back to you.
Thank you, Jihan. I'd like to come briefly to Rana Meher in a moment. I'd like to hear about her thoughts on how this, what Jihan just said about underrepresentation of women in our election from all the parties. But before going into listening to Rana, I'd like to also point out that remember the Jamaat Yunus government did not officially permanently ban Awami League. It was the Jamaat BNP government that made that Awami League ban permanent and into a law in April 2026. The International Crisis Group put the pressure that BNP is under in their own words. They said, and I quote, that BNP is forced to stand firm in the face of pressure from right wing, mainly Islamist forces. Hefazat-e-Islam in particular has kept pushing on education policy and women's rights abolishment pretty much since the transition. And of course, Jihan touched upon how we are very much underrepresented in our election with the female candidates, women candidates. So a bit briefly, Rana, if you could share your thoughts about this, please.
Sorry, Jamil Bhai, is it about women candidacy in our last election? Is this the question about?
Yes, like overall, we're seeing a very minor representation from our women in the country, and they're also getting abused every day. So just a quick thought from you.
Sure. Can I quickly point out something else before I come to the election? Jihan was talking about our ICT that used to be our pride once, because as Jihan said, we followed all our due process to make sure the perpetrator, the Jamaat-e-Islami and the Chhatra Sangh that time, they face what they deserve after what they did in 1971. But if we see about the recent statement from Human Rights Watch and how they criticize the international crime tribunals now and what BNP Jamaat government and the Yunus government, how they completely ruined the reputation of our international crime tribunals. So thank you for Jihan for pointing out this. And also, can I quickly also say, the way Awami League was prohibited from participating in the election, it did not follow any sort of process at all. Forget about due process. It did not follow any sort of process at all. It was just kind of like a day of decision without following any kind of law or any kind of order. And Awami League was not given any chance to say their side of story. So that was a completely flawed decision from both of the government. And about the women participation in this election, I cannot remember correctly the number of women that participated in this election, but as much as I can remember, it was somewhere between 85 to 90, maybe 87 altogether, where the male representation were way, way more. And if we can think about the reason why it's like that, the simple reason I can think of that Awami League did not participate in this election. Awami League is the only party in Bangladesh since 1971 or before 1971. This is the only party in Bangladesh that ensured that women participates in politics in every way. So when Awami League was not in that election, of course, the other party, Jamaat Shibir, they do not even believe in women leaders. So of course, they did not nominate any kind of women candidate. BNP, it only nominated some. NCP, who is basically the youth gang of Jamaat Shibir, they nominated as few as possible. So yes, only very few candidacy because Awami League is not there. And the women of Bangladesh, if you're seeing this program, whatever mistake took place in July 2024, we still have time to fight this back. Thank you, Javed Bhai.
Excellent, excellent. What baffles me, and I'm going to come to Ms. Anberg after this, what baffles me the most is BNP did not need the Jamaat to keep doing Jamaat's working, right? The instinct was never really about the alliance. It was about who benefits from the fear either way. So BNP could have formed the government on its own, but it took Jamaat along with it, I guess, to keep the fear alive. But what connects, what segues wonderfully into what Ms. Meher was saying about women and representation and what Jihan was portraying about all these cases filed against people is another example about where there was not a case filed behind that person at all. And Priyanka, I know you have been very passionate about this topic and following it well. Would you please take us about this specific case where the case was not filed at all, but the person is still being tormented and haunted online?
Correct. So I was going to actually, I was very passionate. I know I talked to you about Jamal, but I would like to talk about Beauty Ranipal, her topic. And I know many people has already seen what has happened to her and why she got viral for a very, it could have been a very beautiful reason, but actually started with a very wrong reason. So it is a, she's just like a normal woman, has a job. She's a school teacher, actually head teacher, and she, outside of her work, she recorded a video reels with a beautiful song, wear a blue sari, and she just made a small video and posted. And that video got a huge hit by the wrong side of the people, by the Jamati people, NCB people, basically the Shibir and all the mobs that we have online and offline. They made a huge attack on her just because of her doing that. They called her vulgar, and it's not a, it's not safe. She is not safe for the kids. Why would she be doing that? Why is it allowed? In fact, a lot of the people actually said, why is she even being allowed to wear a shari, where shari is very national clothing for Bengali women of us. It's not unusual that she might be wearing that. So it was a massive backlash. Actually, people wanted to file case against her and a lot of people claimed that she should be fired immediately. But what happened there was quite a change that we have seen afterwards, that within 2 days, we have actually seen a massive protest of videos that a lot of the teachers, thousands of the teachers, thousands of the online, celebrities, online, normal people like us, and a lot of the people actually came in support of her, that why shouldn't she be allowed to do that? A lot of us has a job, different job, but what we do in our job hours, of course, we have to follow the regulations and rules of the wherever that we are working. But outside of that, we have our personal life, and we're allowed to be living a normal life, doing what we like to do in our private time. So it shouldn't be none of anyone's business. And she wasn't breaking any rules. She was just living her life as a woman, as we do. So saying that, people that had actually claimed that she should be fired and should be a case, and she shouldn't even be wearing a shari, can you imagine that the education minister actually had to intervene that, and he had to actually formally announce that no, she should be allowed wearing shari, and that actually for him to say she didn't make a crime. And I think it's all right that she's singing. Just imagine where in Bangladesh we are, that the educational minister have to actually state the fact that is so obvious. The fact that somebody have to clarify, it's so scary. Where have we gone down to? It feels like it's not a Bangladesh anymore. We are talking about like Syria, Libya, Iran, Afghanistan, like some countries that it could be a normalized scenario, but not for Bangladesh. This is a complete bizarre scenario that we have been seeing. So I'm disheartened. I'm mortified. I'm actually scared for a woman that where are we going? And saying it's just one occasion that we're talking about Jamil Bhai, but this actually happens quite regularly, both online and offline. That woman gets massive attacks. No matter whatever what, if you just don't like about something, perhaps her circle, her wearing, something she have said, it's so easy to being targeted. So it's a scary world, especially after since 5th August that we have seen. It's absolutely scary, both online and offline. Jamil Bhai, back to you.
Thank you, Priyanka. This is indeed something both heartwarming and heart wrenching at the same time. What Miss Beauty Rani Pal has been going through. But again, like you pointed out, if we zoom out a little, we need to realize and remember that these kind of incidents against our religious minorities in Bangladesh is not isolated. The Hindu Buddhist Christian Unity Council documented over 2,400 incidents of violence against minorities in the last 2 years alone. A separate rights body documented over 500 incidents in the first 4 months of 2026, which include 100 plus murders or mysterious deaths and 95 attacks on temple just the first 4 months of 2026. We have read about Dipu Chandra Das, we have wrote about Khokon Chandra Das, we read about a journalist named Rana Pratap Boiragi. These are all just but a few names in this list of horrendous murders and crimes. Every name that Rana read out earlier tonight adds more to what we have been seeing. And one of the biggest news outlets in Bangladesh that is very much pro Jamati, if I may say, Prothom Alo. Prothom Alo itself examined 46 lynching incidents, 67 deaths, and found more than 9,000 people named as accused just this year alone. And do you know how many of those has been arrested? Just 1.3%. 1.3% of all of these have been arrested, and we do not know the updates on them if they were even released or not. So Beauty Rani Pal's story is not alone, it's not a single one. But that leads us to another issue about solidarity. Priyanka, you talked about Beauty Rani Pal all this time. My question to you is this: is the lesson here that solidarity actually works, or that is the only thing left for us to do? And I'd like to hear Rana's and Jihan's point on that as well. But Priyanka, first to you.
Yeah, thank you, Angad. For me, in my opinion, I believe in this case it did work. I mean, she's not being arrested. In fact, she's actually pushing for something called Teacher Protection Acts. It's something law which we never really had in past. So if she's pushing for it, I would really hope that it goes by and that all the teachers and women get some form of protections through that. But again, it's a one scenario that got a complete massive hit, massive viral. So people put a notice on it that education minister had to intervene, but it's not all the cases that we will be seeing the same repeating happening. So my hope would be that it wouldn't need a viral video. It wouldn't need so much headlines, so much solidarity, because not all the stories gets that much attention every time. Also, we are in 2026. The fact that we are even talking about that if a woman should be wearing a sari or not, or if she is allowed to make a video in her spare time, if she should be allowed, and who are the people deciding? Men. I'm not a man hater by any means, but it's almost looks to be that after 5th August, it has been more of a man's land, wonderland in Bangladesh than women. Women are not being represented. We're not seeing any leadership by women at all. It's very, very few. And like Ranapa was actually saying, what we have seen, the July attack and 5th August happened, I think many people now regrets what they have been involved, what they have supported, intentionally or unintentionally, and what we have gotten our country into a massive mess. And this mess culture is completely destroyed. It's not gonna come back. Jamil Bhai, I wouldn't really say, okay, if how many government comes back, our leader comes back, overnight it will change, because both Yunus, NCP, Jamaat, and BNP has completely ruined our culture. It will take years after years to actually work through that. And that culture is completely gone, what we are used to remembering. And another thing I would like to add, slightly different topic that I was going for, but right now it's not BNP, and BNP is a government and they have oppositions. It's only one BNP and CP Jama. They're all running the government together, and their only one and only goal is to being anti-Awami League. That's exactly what they're doing. They're hoping, they're like praying to their God or whatever that they believe in, that Awami League should be never returned. They should never come back, because if they do, they will have no seats. They have no mandate. They're just sitting there. They have robbed it. So that is all I'm gonna say. Back to you, Jan Bhai.
In the interest of time, I'd like to move on to the last question of our day. And this question goes to all of you in brief turns. I'd like to start with Jihan. Jihan, my question to all of you, I'll first go to Jihan, then Rana Meher, and end with Priyanka, is that what would you say, and please be brief about it, what would you say to the grassroots activists who are fighting on multiple levels every day today? Jihan?
Uh, to the grassroots activists, I'd like to say that I feel for you. I would probably not understand 1000% of your pain exactly as it is, because I'm not wearing your shoes. But you are the life, you are the power, and you are the strength of Bangladesh Awami League. So keep doing what you are doing. Keep holding the pattern, and our leader Sheikh Hasina will return, and we will overcome the darkness. We feel you. We are with you.
Thank you, Jihan. Rana, please.
Thank you, Jamil Bhai. Just to quickly add on about Beauty Ball, what happened after Beauty Ball's incident is really nice to see all the teachers came forward to support her. But we must not forget, during Yunis regime, 3,000, at least 3,000 of teachers, they lost their jobs. And only a couple of days ago, 4 Dhaka University teacher, one of them, they lost her job, and other 3 are facing severe issues in the university as well. So please, we all should support Beauty and other teachers there, but let's not forget those teachers as well. And about our grassroots activists, I have nothing to say to them apart from thank you from bottom of my heart. And I have nothing to say, I have nothing to suggest. They are doing everything right. They are doing more than right. All I can say to the top leaders of Awami League, when you come back to power, value them. Make sure Awami League becomes the party again of mass people, and Awami League must not be surrendered to some very top rich officials. Thank you very much.
Jihan? Sorry,
I have
Priyanka.
already.
Right, Priyanka?
Yes. I would say a bit of what Janbay said. It's very, very hard to even imagine what they're going through, because we are not there. It's very easy for us to give a comments. We are very privileged. We are safe. We are honestly very privileged. We will never feel what they're going through. All I can say is that what we are doing is like incredibly powerful. You were and you are and you will always be the pillar of Awami League, which is actually Awami League stands on. And I have trust on our Netri. She has said multiple times, when she's returned, she will make sure that our activists and grassroots colleagues and friends, they will get to lead. They will be bring in the front of line. I truly believe she will do that. And last thing I want to say, please stay united. and know that we are there for you, and we are there. We are there for you. We feel your pain.
Thank you, all of you. And I'd like to echo with what my panelists have so wisely said. We are very, very proud of you all in Bangladesh who are trying to keep up the good fight. I know it sometimes feel unfair that many of us are staying abroad and maybe you think we're just talking for the sake of talking online. But know that everyone is trying as much as they can from their own position. I live abroad, but my entire family is in Bangladesh. Do I not have to think about that? I am afraid of what might happen to my family, just like all of you. But we're all trying. Please try with whatever you can. You can write a poem, write a poem. You can sing a song, sing a song. You can give a speech, give a speech. You can make a joke about it, write a draw a cartoon. Please do. Every single bit matters. So I'd like to thank all of our participants today, the panelists Anwar Jihan, Rana Meher, and Priyanka Anbar. It's always wonderful to listen to you guys. 2 years on, the cost is still being counted by the people paying it, not the people who owe it. I know it has been a heavy hour. It takes a lot of toll on our psychologically, mentally, listening, talking about all of this. So we do not take this lightly. Hopefully, we'll be back again next week, same time, with new headlines, new topics, something that's relevant to all of us. Until then, we hope and pray you take care of yourself, you take care of one another, and know that we are constantly praying for you and hoping the best from you. So, from myself, Raihan Jamil, and all of us here at the Persecution Report, good night, and we'll see you next time. Joy Bangla.
Jai
Joy
Bangla, Jai
Bangla.
Bangla.